What is Hypixel Skyblock? Hypixel Skyblock is an MMORPG created by the world's largest Minecraft server and also company, Hypixel. But don't let its name deceive you though. Hypixel Skyblock is more than just Skyblock. Allow me to explain. But before I do so, now in my last Skyblock video I mentioned that if we reached 211 subscribers before the end of November, I'd build a sugarcane farm, and now we actually reached that amount in less than a day. Now I'm making the farm, I ran into some problems though, and that is that when I was almost finishing the farm, as you can see, I realized that I had made the design totally wrong. And that is because what you're supposed to do is have one lane of water, two of dirt, and then another one of water, and then so on. So the only sugarcane farm you're gonna be getting is this one right here, which I built over 2 years ago. And hey, don't blame me here, I did not say it was gonna be big. But okay, this time I will make an actual massive sugarcane farm if we reach 1,000 subscribers. Okay, we're so near, please subscribe, do it. Okay, now watch the video. Now the first step to join Hypixel Skyblock will be to first either direct connect or add your server to your multiplayer server list. And you first have to type the IP into here, and once you add it, you will be able to join Hypixel. And now when you first join Hypixel, you will join in the main lobby, and as you can see, there are many things here such as arcade games, murder mystery, wool wars, but the one we're looking for this time is Skyblock. And so the way you can join is by either clicking on this NPC or just in this game menu, you can click on here, Skyblock. And when you first join, you will find yourself in a complete different island to the Skyblock you are used to. Now when breaking your first logs, you may have noticed something appearing in the middle of your screen, and that is plus 6.6 foraging speed, and that's because Hypixel Skyblock, contrary to most Skyblock minigames, has a unique skill system, which has many skills which are farming, mining, combat, chopping down trees, fishing, enchanting, alchemy, dungeoneering, taming, which you level up by leveling up pets, social, which you get XP by people visiting your island, rune crafting, which is often obtained by killing bosses, and carpentry, which is obtained by crafting. And to see how it works, let me just show you how a skill levels up. So you see, I have a one single speed left to reach Foraging 1, and as you can see, we obtain all of this stuff. Now one thing I haven't talked about is Skyblock menu. The Skyblock menu can be accessed by either right-clicking this nether star in the hotbar or by just clicking on it while in the inventory. And as you can see, there are many things that you may not know what they are. First of all, you have a crafting table right here, which you can craft anything. Like for example, if I want to craft a crafting table in a crafting table, I can craft a crafting table. And also, you have a calendar which shows, like for example, what events are going to occur next in Skyblock, a quest log which shows every single quest that is currently available to you, a trades menu which you can trade stuff from, a recipe book which shows the recipes you have unlocked, the active effects that you have, and a collection, which is one of the most important parts of Skyblock. Like for example, the only collection I've unlocked yet in this profile is the All Good collection. As you can see, okay, you unlock each collection by just getting a single of that item. So let's just say I got one of Dark All Good, then I will unlock the Dark Good collection. I will be able to see what it has. But now, speaking more about the collections, each collection has a certain milestone after obtaining a certain amount of the certain item. And for example, if I just chop 250 oak wood, I will be able to obtain the leaflet armor recipe, which as you can become a crafter like this, and it's a decent early game armor. And honestly, before looking at any other collection, I encourage you to go find by yourself what this collection has instead of just searching it up. Now while looking at some collections, you may have found some ridiculous requirements like 70,000 cobblestone, which normally, while doable, would be incredibly painful to do and would take an extremely long amount of time for what seems a practically useless item. But if you had looked at the collections, in the first tab you may have found something that Skyblock is also characterized for: minions. Minions are practically unpaid workers that work 24/7 for you, producing resources every single time of the day, that can also be upgraded and be able to do a certain action more quickly or having more storage. Now, while minions not being a unique thing about Skyblock, they still have their own unique touch that characterizes them from other games. Like for example, they have a minion skin slot, a fuel slot, an automatic shipping slot, and 2 upgrade slots. Also, if you were wondering, this cobblestone minion is bound to appear on every single Skyblock island ever created, in the same spot, doing the same stuff for over years upon years of work of unpaid labor. And if you don't want him to suffer, you can just take out the minion. Or if you want him to suffer like I do, just place him back and he'll work for you forever. Now the minion I showed you was a level 1 cobblestone minion, and now if you want to see what a max level cobblestone minion is, let me show you this one I have on my main profile, profile, which is, as you can see, it has 2 upgrade diamond spreading and super compactor and a few enchanted lava bucket. And now I don't have any automated shipping or minion scheme because I don't want to put it, but basically this is how a maxed out minion would look like. Also, by the way, one thing I forgot to mention about the Max Skyblock menu, and yes, by the way, this is how a maxed out Skyblock menu looks like. You can expand it as you go with your adventures. Like if you click on your profile, there's something here called Skyblock levels, which are a fairly new addition added to Skyblock, which you can unlock many things for. Now, for example, as a level such as high as mine, you barely obtain anything, just health and strength. But in the first levels is where you unlock a lot. Like for example, here at Skyblock level 3, you gain access to a community shop. At Skyblock level 5 to the wardrobe and the garden, which is coming soon. The 6 the auto pickup, and the 7 the access to the bazaar. And then you just keep on gaining the same rewards you always gain. Now, after knowing all of this, you are finally ready to find the new world you will probably be totally immersed for the next few months of your life. Welcome to the Skyblock Hub. Now, one of the first things you see when entering the hub is this map right here, which shows you the whole Skyblock map. While seeming small, it's actually pretty big because it requires a lot of grinding to go into each area comfortably. So, to explain you briefly what each island is about, we have the hub, the park, the spider's den, the end, the Crimson Isle, the gold mines, the deep caverns, the barn, and the mushroom desert. Now, while I cannot enter into too much detail because this is just a brief introduction and not a guide about Skyblock, let me just introduce you to some of the main things about the Skyblock hub. First, we have the banker, which is an NPC where you can store all of your coins, and you can upgrade the bank to be able to store more coins and all of those things. Then we also have the bazaar, which is a place where you can buy many things, ranging from vanilla items such as spider webs to Skyblock made items like griffin feathers. We also have the auction house, which is a place where you can buy or sell virtually any item in all of Skyblock. Like for example, if you want to buy a wooden sword for 1 coin, you can buy it if you want to. Another thing is the blacksmith, which will reforge every forgeable item for a set amount of coins. Now, another feature that Skyblock is characterized for is for having the use of mayors. As you can see, each Skyblock year, which is about 5 real-life days, a new Skyblock mayor is elected. As you can see, for example, this year, Mayor Marina was elected, giving result to all of these perks, which will be granted to every single person during that Skyblock year until the mayor goes out of office. About a day after they are elected, a new mayor booth is elected, so that way we can vote within 5 randomly chosen candidates, which can never be the one that had been selected the previous year. And for example, we can see there are 5 mayors here: Cole, Foxy, Diana, Paul, and Finnegan. And for example, this year I will be voting for Paul, which is what the majority of people are apparently want to vote. And while we are at the community center, there's another NPC here called Elizabeth, which is also one of the most important parts of Skyblock that most people seem to forget about. We have city projects, which is some things that everyone can contribute to, that are every once in a while released, and that you can contribute for a reward. And another very important thing are these account and profile upgrades. Now, what I first recommend you to use is you have to do all of these. It's like highly recommended. And these account upgrades, I already have all the free ones, will affect all of your profiles forever. Like for example, again, I have extra ender chest pages, extra slots in my accessory bag, extra slots in my sack of sack, an extra magic find, which is so very important, and bill stacks in the bazaar, which is just tax evading, but oh well. And as the profile upgrades, which are only applied to your profile, we have island size, which will expand the size of your island, minion slot, which will add a minion slot, a guest limit, a co-op slot limit, and we also have a coins allowance, which is again a certain amount of money that Skyblock will give you every single real day just because you got it, you know? And another thing we have is the booster cookies, which can either be bought from the bazaar for, well, quite a penny, or just be bought to the use of gems bought in the Hypixel store. With this, we can obtain a certain currency known as bits, which we can buy many cosmetics and other things which can improve your Skyblock experience. Like for example, let's just say I buy this Tito block. Oh hey, look at that, I got a fame rank up. This thing, for example, will transform any skull, like let's say this helmet, into an item. Now there's another very important feature about Skyblock that almost nobody seems to figure out because it's very complicated and hard to understand for a new player, which is, as you can see, Thaumatorogist Maxwell. How you first access this is to unlocking the accessory bag in the Redstone collection. As you can see, you unlock it like right here after getting 250 redstone collection. And this accessory bag, what you basically could do is here you can get accessories which will increase your magical power, and with this magical power you can select a certain power which will give you a certain boost. Like for example, when you first discover this, you will probably only have it right here, the best of which probably being warrior because of the damage. Then at about, I think it's combat 15, you can get another free one, the best of which being the commando one. And then you can also get new powers through use of power stone, which can also be obtained from the Bazaar, as you can see here. And if you combine 9 of which you will unlock a certain power. Like for example, if you get 9 beating hearts, you will be able to obtain the bloody power. Now each power has a certain stat that, for example, this year the unique power bonus never changes, it's always the same no matter how much magic power you have, but depending on your magic power, of course the higher the better, the stats of each power will increase. Like for example, when you start warrior right here may only give you about 1 strength or so, but now I have 390 magical power and it can give me 124 strength, 89 crit damage and many other things. Now Hypixel Skyblock is an extremely complicated game with tons of features, and if you ever have any doubt you can just visit the Skyblock Wiki, which was also created as of recently in the last year, which you can access either by clicking on this link or by just typing into Google the IP I will put on screen. And if you haven't noticed all throughout the video by now, Hypixel Skyblock is based on statistics, specifically your profile statistics, which I will be putting on screen right now since I don't have enough time to describe what each of them does, and the game already does a good enough job to explain what each of them does. And if you don't have enough time to read all of them carefully, you can just go ahead, pause the video, give me more watch time and read them more carefully. I mean, go ahead, I'm not complaining. And now that you know all of these features, it's time to commence your adventure. So if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and leave a comment. And if you want to see more of my content, go watch this video right here, which is the last video I uploaded, and I believe it's one of the best videos I've ever done. But if you want to see a true guide to Hypixel Skyblock, go watch this video by HellCastle and Tylerrrr, which I believe is the best updated guide for beginners in Skyblock. Anyhow, bye.